This is a 2023 Hyundai Palisade, and it's a pretty sweet SUV. It obviously looks super cool, as you've just seen from that little sequence of shots a moment ago, but it's also quite fast. Its advertised 0 to 60 is 6.4 seconds. It's powered by a 3.8 liter V6 engine, which makes 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, which for a big old SUV like this, it's not half bad. This thing also weighs a little over 4,000 pounds, which isn't terribly heavy for an SUV, but it's also not extremely light, and you can definitely feel that when you're driving. This one here is also in the XRT trim, which means you get these super cool 20-inch black rims. You also get a black grille and some other blacked out parts of this car, like the emblems, things like that. And of course, a cool little XRT badge on the back. The XRT trim is more of an appearance package than anything. Doesn't really have any performance benefits, but of course it is 100% worth it because this thing looks so sick. Here we are on the inside of this Palisade. As you can see, we've got a fully digital gauge cluster there, as well as a nice big screen right here, but we still have plenty of buttons right here for your climate control and whatnot. Buttons to select your gears, a knob to select your drive modes. You got heated seats, a nice sunroof up there, and like most new cars, it does have the auto stop or off feature, whatever you call that thing. So every time you come to a complete stop, it turns off the engine, and then when you want to go, it turns it back on. But you can hit this button right there that turns that function off so that it's just always on, which is so nice because it's really just a dumb feature. This car also has adaptive cruise control as well as lane keeping assist, which is super cool, so it kind of like drives for you on the highway. Also up here on our digital gauge cluster there, we've got a little health bar kind of thing for the fuel and for the engine temperatures. And another interesting thing about this car is that the whole digital layout right there is not customizable. That's just, this is what you get on this trim. On higher trims, you can customize it and change it up however you want it to be, but on this XRT and on lower trims, you're stuck with this. As you can see, you also have some little paddle shifters right here, and they're fun to use, but they shift pretty slow. It's like you click it and a couple seconds later, then it decides to shift. So it's really more fun to drive in just full automatic mode, where it just knows exactly when it should shift for the fastest acceleration and just kind of the most fun. It is still kind of fun to click these, but they're not that great, so it's kind of pointless. Down here you do have some nice storage space, a pretty deep compartment there, as well as right here you've got some cool little cup holders that flick out stupidly fast. You've also got a little wireless charging pad for your phone, but that does not give you wireless CarPlay. You still have to be plugged into a USB port in order to use any CarPlay. Way down here you also have a pretty big cubby because there's no actual shifter knob right here. It's all just electronic shifting. For all the different drive modes you can select right here, they only have to do with how high the engine will rev, its shift points, and its throttle response. It's nothing to do with adaptive suspension or anything like that, but you still have 5 different drive modes. Just a bit more on these modes here. Right now it's in smart mode, which you can see on there. The colors change on that whole outer ring from all the different modes. So smart mode basically learns your driving habits, learns how you like to drive, and it will change the shift points and the throttle responsiveness based on how you typically drive. And then of course we have sport mode, which is the most fun. This is probably just what we're going to be driving in today, because why would you not? After that you've got comfort, which is just kind of your basic boring driving mode. It's comfortable. Throttle response is just what you'd expect. It's just a normal driving car at that point.
Boring.
Eco mode, you get a nasty looking kind of like puke green color on the dash, which is kind of disgusting, to be honest. And you get like 0 acceleration, and it'll even turn off the AC at some points if it thinks that you're using up too much of its energy. And overall eco mode is just kind of dumb, so never use that. And then finally you've got snow mode, which just helps you out in the snow a little bit. It's kind of like a advanced traction control or something like that. It just helps you get going in the snow a little better. So of course we gotta be in sport mode right now. Bink, and the drive, and away we go. All right, we're in sport mode. Here's a quick 0 to 60 test. Here we go. Not too bad. This car is kind of ridiculously fast for what it is. Like, there's no reason for it to be that fast, but it is, and it's fun, and I love it. And it sounds pretty good while it's doing it. To use the manual mode, you can just click the paddle shifters, get into the gear you want to start in. Now it's gonna stay in manual mode until you stop again. So here we can just start in first. Click, just keep your foot down. But like I said earlier, the shifts are quite slow. As you can see there, shift. It takes a couple of seconds before it actually shifts, so that's just kind of annoying. Now we're back into full automatic mode because this will be the fastest for acceleration. So here's another quick 0 to 60 test. 3, 2, 1. That is completely unnecessary, but it's so much fun. So now that we've come to a complete stop once again, it's back into regular automatic mode. So we can continue on. And of course you can just accelerate normally and it drives just fine. You don't have to floor it everywhere, but of course, that's so much more fun. There are a few things that I don't love about this car. It beeps at you a ton, like everything you do, it'll ding at you. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. I'm not a huge fan of all the digital display. I like to have at least a physical tack, just because I like to see the needle go up and down. That's just kind of a personal preference, but one small complaint about it. I also don't love the steering on this car. It's very light, and it's just feels so disconnected from the road. It's just very you can just spin it, there's no feedback whatsoever. It doesn't really weight up when you're going through even a fast turn. It's just kind of a wheel that you can spin endlessly with absolutely no resistance. It's kind of weird. That's really my main problem with this car though. That said, it does actually corner pretty nicely. It feels pretty good. You can of course tell that this is a big ol' SUV when you're trying to take faster corners. That wasn't too fast obviously, but you can certainly feel that it's a big heavy SUV, so it's not gonna be quite as fun as something smaller to take around the corners, but of course you have that ridiculous acceleration, so that makes up for the cornering. But overall, this is a really nice car. It's good bang for your buck. It's not the most expensive thing in the world, and you get a sweet car. You get a super fast car, got loads of room, you get a lot of nice options, a lot of cool features, lots of just different comfort things like the different modes, the heated seats. You can also get a heated steering wheel with this and a higher trim, but this one doesn't have that because it's not the highest trim, but it looks cooler because it's the XRT. So it's a nice little trade-off there, but great car overall. I certainly recommend it if you don't mind all the digital stuff and all the beeping and screaming at you all the time. It's a sweet car. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more car videos like this one, you can click right up here on the screen for that, and I'll see you over there.